It's just past midnight on the night of June 8th, 2017, in Eaton Township, Pennsylvania. Like most summer nights, in this small Wyoming County town of 1,500, it's as quiet as a grave. Most people are asleep, but there are a few people around the town working the night shift at various local businesses. One of these businesses is a Weis Markets grocery store, a regional chain with several stores in the Mid-Atlantic region. Given the lateness of the hour, only 5 people were working that night, mostly restocking items and cleaning the store. One of these workers was 24-year-old Randy Stair, a tall and lanky young man with semi-long blonde hair. He arrived for his shift at 11 p.m. that night and began his restocking duties, as he did most evenings for the 7 years that he had worked there. However, Randy had something different in mind for this night. Within a few minutes of clocking in, he first went to the crew area of the store and blocked the emergency exit before returning to the floor to continue stocking. Around 12:20 a.m., he went to the back room and began moving several pallets of merchandise in front of the exits. He then moved his car, a grey 2013 Hyundai Sonata, in front of the exit for the bakery section of the store, blocking the doors from being opened. In addition to this, he also grabbed a bag out of his car and changed out of his work uniform. Instead of the usual red polo and khaki pants he had to wear for work, he donned a black cargo pants and a white shirt, emblazoned with the phrase, "It's our time to rise," along with a black beanie and black face paint around his eyes. Afterwards, he returned to the entrance of the store and locked the automatic main entrance doors. He then opened the bag, which contained 2 loaded 12-gauge Mossberg 500 pistol grip shotguns, and proceeded out onto the shop floor. The first person he encountered was Terry Sterling, aged 63. Randy shot him in the torso before unloading several more shells into him after he fell. He then ran into Brian Hayes, aged 47, and killed him too. Victoria Brown, aged 26, was laying down in another aisle. Engrossed in her tasks and wearing earbuds, she didn't hear the shotgun blasts that killed Brian and Terry. She also didn't hear him approach her from behind. He shot her in the head and back multiple times, destroying her head and instantly killing her. Within only a few minutes, 3 of the 4 workers were dead. The remaining worker, Christoph Newell, was in the same aisle as Victoria and was busy labelling products. Like Victoria, she was also wearing headphones and didn't hear the initial shots. However, she did turn around and see and hear Randy kill Victoria. After killing Victoria, Randy chose to spare Kristen for some reason. According to Kristen, Randy stared at her for a few seconds before wordlessly walking away to another aisle. Kristen took this opportunity to flee the store through one of the exits that Randy neglected to block. She later reported hearing multiple gunshots as she was fleeing. At 12:44 a.m., she called the Wyoming County Sheriff's Office to report the shootings. At this point, the store was void of living people other than Randy. CCTV footage showed that after Kristen fled, he walked aimlessly around the store, taking pot shots at various merchandise. He also fired on some propane tanks, hoping they would explode, but nothing happened. Afterwards, he went to the deli section of the store and placed a shotgun in his mouth. He fired, killing himself instantly and destroying most of his head and face. Police arrived soon after and found the 3 victims' bodies plus Randy's. They swept the store for any additional victims, but found none. One of the arriving officers observed 2 propane tanks in Randy's car and, as a result, requested the bomb squad to clear it. However, it turned out the tanks were not rigged to explode. After determining the scene was no longer active, authorities began the investigation. Forensic technicians found that a total of 59 shots had been fired during the shooting, with Randy reloading at least several times. They also found that despite carrying 2 shotguns, only one was actually used in the shooting. Even though he was gruesomely disfigured by the shotgun blast, authorities quickly identified Randy as the shooter based on information found in his wallet and car. Based on this information, Pennsylvania State Police executed a search warrant at Randy's parents' house at 1632 Ransom Road in Dallas, Pennsylvania, where Randy had been living. In addition to finding hundreds of shotgun shells and shooting gear, authorities also seized Randy's computer, phone, and several flash drives. What they found on it would show a long downward spiral as Randy went from a relatively normal kid to a cold-blooded suicide killer. Randy Stair was born on September the 17th, 1992 in Pennsylvania. Despite being named Randy, he preferred to be called Andrew Blaze, or simply Andrew. He was born into a middle-class family that resided in the suburb of Dallas, Pennsylvania, and, by all accounts, had a normal childhood. A document found on Randy's computer titled Andrew Blaze Early Years Information describes his elementary and middle school years. According to Randy, he was fairly average, although he was a bit of a loner and pretty much only had one real friend during these years. He did mention that he was bullied in middle school, but downplayed it and claimed it wasn't a big issue. Middle school was when I really started to heat up and envision hurting the people in my class, such as Eric Waters. He'd steal shit from my lunch and then give it back because I didn't show any resistance. This kid doesn't even care, haha, he joked. One of the things Randy stated always interested him was filmmaking and animation. Like many young people, Randy craved fame and attention and hoped that this YouTube channel would give him this. Most of the videos on this channel were random and nondescript, but were generally comedy-oriented. Although initially not having much success, Randy got a taste of it in 2010 when he did a crossover video with Make Me Bad 35. a much more popular YouTuber at the time. The video, titled Mr. Horsehead Meets Mr. Wooden Alligator, earned 120k views and gave Randy his first taste of internet fame.
Damien? Randy, have you seen my wooden alligator? Ah!
He even got a shout out from famous YouTuber Ray William Johnson in 2011. After this, Randy would try again and again to repeat this success with similar videos, but this fame never materialized. He also made a second YouTube channel called Fat Ass that attempted to parody the stunts done on the TV series Jackass. However, this also was met with little attention. This theme of never being able to find something that attracted a substantial audience was something that would be a recurring phenomenon in Randy's life. Between 2011 and 2013, Randy tried to become a streamer on YouTube and other streaming platforms. Like his previous endeavours, this garnered no attention, and Randy would spend several hours live streaming to an audience of 0 people and essentially just talking to himself. It was after these failures that cracks in Randy started to show. Most of the content he produced became much more somber and dark. He often complained that YouTube was no longer enjoyable like it had been during his earlier years, and that his dream of having it as a career was unlikely to come to fruition. It was around this time that Randy's content shifted completely away from comedy and live streaming towards something else much more bizarre. Danny Phantom fan fiction, specifically something known as EGS. EGS, or Ember's Ghost Squad, as Randy called it, was a drastic departure from the content Randy regularly produced online. Although many of his viewers thought this new shift was laughably bad, given that it revolved around a secondary channel from a Nickelodeon TV show, Randy became wholly dedicated to this new shift. He created an entire online presence for it, including separate YouTube channels, an Instagram page, a Facebook page, a wiki, and 9 Twitter accounts. With these Twitter accounts, Randy would roleplay as various members of the EGS and would reply to himself, as well as retweet and favourite his own tweets. Randy claimed that the idea for this squad came from the dark stuff that had been going on in his life the past few years, including a car accident he got in and his isolation and depression.
Seems today marks my 8th year doing YouTube videos, which is insane to think about, thinking I just started out with absolutely nothing, just the ideas in my head and just my determination to make something awesome. And now it's been 8 years since I started making my visions appear on the YouTube screen. I never expected to get this far. I've made how many anniversary videos saying I never would have thought that just by turning on a camera I could establish something as crazy as this.
The EGS was centered around Ember McLean, a character from Danny Phantom, and the Ghost Dimension, an alternative dimension in the show where people go after they die. According to Randy, ghosts in the EGS will seek out disturbed or suicidal people and cast a spell on them to recruit them into their ranks. An odd aspect of this was that no men were allowed into the squad because when you die, you would transform into a female spirit. This feature highlighted an issue that Randy had long struggled with throughout his real life: his sexuality and gender identity. In a journal he started in 2016, Randy stated that he had hated his penis and believed he was born into the wrong body as a punishment and was actually a girl. He also claimed in a video that ever since he was a preteen, he would cross-dress every Wednesday when his parents went out to go bowling. Investigators even found that Randy was wearing purple panties and a black bra under his clothing during their shooting. As Randy continued to build on the lore of EGS by making animation videos of it, his videos took a darker turn and began including material related to school shootings, specifically the Columbine Massacre, an event that Randy became infatuated with, a recreation of the combined shooters' suicides that Randy made. One of these videos was a nearly 40-minute long animation video depicting EGS characters shooting up a high school. Titled The Westboro High Massacre, Randy viewed this video as his magnum opus and spent a lot of time and money hiring animators and voice actors to participate in it.
Eric Harris once said, "I hate the fucking world." What an inspiration. I would have killed to have met the guy. I think we would have connected on so many levels.
This world makes me sick. All of you little fuckers are just a waste of space. Tell me, what good is it to live in a world where you can't have everything you truly want?
I just want to be free.
However, he had trouble putting it together the way he had envisioned it, leading to great frustration. He even recorded many videos of him driving around aimlessly in his car while ranting to the camera about his difficulties with this project. As 2016 neared to a close, Randy became increasingly unhinged and, according to his own words, began planning something big. He started making videos detailing his plans to commit some type of shooting. His motivation for wanting to kill people, besides his anger at the world and unfulfilling life, was as bizarre as his YouTube content. It essentially revolved around him wanting to die in order for him to ascend to the ghost dimension so he could be reincarnated as a female spirit and a member of EGS. He made a video of himself flipping a quarter to decide where the shooting took place. If it was heads, he would do it at his house and kill his family. If it was tails, he would do it at the Waste Market grocery store he worked at.
Here's the fate test. I'm gonna flip this 3 times, or the best out of 3 rather, and if it's heads, I'll do it here. If it's tails, supermarket. Let's go. Decided to do this outside. That way you get the maximum height possible on this flip. So let's just put this over here and make it so you can see. There we go. Best of 3. Here we go. I'm not gonna touch it. You will see it as I see it. If I can find it. There it is. That's the tails. See that? Clearly tails. So that's one. I'm not gonna cut, I'm not gonna touch the tripod or the camera, only just to show you. That is it. There's gonna be no other cutting. That's one flip. Number two. Looking at it. You as I will see it for the first time. It had to be, right? That's a heads. Ooh, one of each. Tension's building up. Gotta say. This is crazy. This is just crazy. Having this come down to the flip of a coin. Alright, number three. That was a high one. Alright, don't lose it. Can't lose that coin. Here we go. Oh, it's a tails. That's tails. You can see it. The fucking exposure on this is going all sorts of wonky. Here. There we go. Now you can see it. Tails. Okay. So. You realize if I flip this next coin and it lands on tails, there's going to be devastation and destruction. Sure. I'll cut off here. Okay. Here we go. Number four. Way up there. And it over to the right. I gave that one my all. Where did it land? Trying to find it. Where did you land? You son of here. Heads. Had to be, huh? Have to have it come down to the very last coin flip. Oh my goddess. Oh, the suspense is...
It landed on tails. One of the first things 24-year-old Randy Stair did in the preparation for his massacre was purchase some guns. He first purchased an 8-shot 12-gauge pistol grip Mossberg 500 shotgun. Later on, he purchased the same gun, but the 6-shot model instead. He named his guns Rachel and Mackenzie, respectively. After 2 Ember's Ghost Squad characters, he created and carved the names into his weapons. Due to his infatuation with Columbine, he wrapped duct tape around the handles of both guns. As a homage to the duct tape wrapped shotgun Eric Harris used during the Columbine massacre. He also purchased 250 shells and recorded multiple videos of him practicing at an outdoor shooting range.
I fucking hit it! Wow!
Oh my god.
That was insane.
Although he wasn't very accurate, given that the guns he selected were hard to control and had a higher amount of recoil. Despite normally being quiet, Randy's demeanour in his videos seemed joyful at times, as he gleefully described how he couldn't wait to do it, was anxiously anticipating carrying out the massacre. It's just getting to the point where I wanted to be here already. Every time I look at that picture of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the picture of the suicide, I just wanted to be here already, he said. He even went on to say in another video that he was anticipating how powerful he would feel to have his co-workers' lives in his hands and how no one could stop him. Additional videos found in his manifesto were upwards of 2 hours long and entailed him discussing in depth how he would do the attack, including how he would barricade the exits.
So I thought I'd record it on video this time. I'm using my iPhone 6, just hopefully because it'll make it a smaller file size to edit, because I can't afford to fill up my hard drive right now. I really can't. I'm 14, 13, 12 days away from doing this, you know? This is it. And I'm fucking exhausted. I'm beat. I know there's no way in hell I'm going to get everything done the way it has to be, and it's going to be imperfect, you know? I'm a perfectionist. This is just how it's going to be, so...
Other videos entailed him walking around the store to get footage of the interior of it, so he could plan the shooting. In his journal, he also wrote about which of his co-workers he would take particular pleasure in killing, such as Victoria Brown. He claimed he would destroy her head. He also mentioned, in regards to Brian Hayes, that he would kill him the quickest, since he didn't want him to suffer. The last two videos in his manifesto, addressed to his parents, give more insight into the rationale behind the attacks and what events set this horrific plan in motion.
So often in movies, people documenting their will on tape and saying things like, if you're watching this, I'm dead. I'm sorry, you know. And honestly, I've envisioned this day coming for as long as 10 years. And I never thought it would come, but here it is. So, I wanted to record this for you, Mom, Jeremy, Dad, and really just anyone else in the family that would want to watch it, and to maybe help you better understand why I did what I did and how you didn't see it coming and all that, and really just to talk to you one last time.
Despite Randy's bizarre online behaviour, his parents had been unaware anything was wrong with their son. They did know he was a loner and didn't have many friends, but thought he was normal since he never acted out and had a stable job. In one video, he claims that EGS recruits spoke to him in his head and encouraged him to do it, although he claimed he wasn't schizophrenic. He also goes on to explain the whole concept behind EGS's since his parents were unaware of his YouTube channel and online presence. Additionally, he also vented about his issues with his transsexuality and seemed angry that his parents never noticed it was something he struggled with. In the same video, he also describes his obsession with school shootings, specifically his fascination with the famous picture of Eric and Dylan's suicide. This series of videos also highlighted a heap of buried animosity Randy held towards his parents, specifically his father. "I'm your fucking kid, and you don't know anything about me or how I feel," he stated. One of the biggest issues Randy had with his father was that his dad had been pushing him to get an actual full-time job so he could move out of their home, given that he was nearly 25 years old. He goes on to say that he couldn't easily blow your goddamn head off, in reference to his dad, but then says that he didn't because he wanted his father and mother to suffer the pain and shock of their child being a mass murderer. Ultimately, Randy would continue to fly under the radar as he finished planning for his massacre and was able to bring his plan to fruition. On the night of the shootings, right before he started blocking off the exits, Randy made one final post on one of his Twitter accounts stating, "Goodbye humans, I'll miss you." He then emailed and tweeted multiple links to his manifesto videos and journal, which were labelled as Journal, Suicide Tapes and Digital Set. He also emailed one of the voice actors he recruited to help him with his animations, Laura Faberty, and thanked her for her help and told her by the time she finished reading this message, he'd be dead. Additionally, he also emailed a suicide letter to the singer of Pennsylvania-based band Send Request, as Randy had been in contact with them since 2014, since he used some of their music in his videos. Afterwards, he did just as he had been planning for months and opened fire on his co-workers, killing 3 of 4 before he turned the gun on himself. Despite the significance of the event, the shooting barely made national news and was quickly forgotten by many. Randy had described in his journal how he hoped his attack and writings and videos would inspire someone else to commit suicide or murder-suicide in the name of EGS. However, this has yet to occur.
Employee who shot and killed 3 co-workers before he turned the gun on himself at a northeastern Pennsylvania supermarket. This happened last night at the Weiss Market in Eaton Township. Investigators say that Randy Stair brought 2 shotguns into the store in a duffel bag. He pulled them out of the bag and opened fire, killing 3 of his workers.
It's just starting to sink in now. I'm starting to shake, trying to figure out what's going on because I don't know what's going on, or it's scary.
Now, police say that one witness inside that store managed to escape and called 911. Investigators say that the shooting happened after the store closed.
To this day, the murders have still left an impact on Eaton Township, Pennsylvania. The store where the shooting occurred was closed for a month while authorities investigated and workers remodeled the interior. Many townspeople did not agree with Weiss's Supermarket's decision to keep the store, with multiple people stating that they will never enter the store again because of what occurred there. Conversely, one man lamented that tearing down the store would just mean that Randy won, stating the evil man who did this would have wanted them to move and would have wanted people to be scared and not want to go to the store after what he did. After the shooting, Send Request, the band Randy admired, made a song called Anti-Social War that alluded to Randy and described how the band couldn't believe he had done something so senseless.